In Light-Kinesiology, we are dealing with energy medicine, and we are changing the light that we are receiving and allowing the body to self-regulate. So we are doing some changes for the body. But in order to support the body afterwards, to manifest the change that takes place in the treatment, what we are using is Phytobiophysics flower formulas. So we looked at a lot of different things, and we found that the vibrational frequencies of Phytobiophysics flower remedies seems to be working very effectively to support the change over the next month, 2 months for that person. So the change that we are receiving from our treatment, it becomes solidified and stays with you. It's also working on a high vibrational frequency. What does that mean? So we don't know how far we are reaching. Nobody knows. Yeah, so when we have the ocean, for example, we know that the ocean, 10 years ago we said, this is the ocean bed, and we know where it is, and we know everything that lives here. Then we found out, no, actually there is more life over there. So now we accept that there is much more down here, but we don't know how far it goes. So in our brain it's the same thing. So where we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, we used to know what the brain does 10 years ago. But now we know that we know nothing about the brain. That the deep subconscious, which is your 80-85% of your brain, has a purpose in there, and we don't know what is in it. And most of our traumas that we carry are in our deep subconscious. So if we then take a flower remedy and we can throw a higher vibrational frequency into that ocean, it will cause a ripple effect. How far, we have no idea. So when we take the remedies, we're doing the ripple effect into our deep subconscious as well. So that's the reason we're using Phytobiophysics. We've looked at other remedies as well, which ones work. And we're not saying this is the only thing that works, but as a system, it's helping tremendously. So Diana Mossop created that over 35 years ago. And what she did is she took flowers, and 100 hedgerow flowers, and made the essences from that by putting them out in the sun, grasping the energy, and then putting them into 100 different tinctures, one for each flower. So you can look at this box here. There are lots of yellows here. You can just say, which yellow do I, which one do I need? Put your finger on it, pick it out, read the label, look in this book what that flower is, and it comes to very accurate analysis of what's happening with you when you work it just on that basis. But what she then did is that she's taken these, and from these 100, she made 20 remedies, which are the flower remedies. And they all go along with this color spectrum, so then they're working with wavelengths, they're working with color energy, meridians, and each one of these has more than one flower in it. And when you look at the book that goes with this, in my opinion, it was written over 30 years ago, and there is no way Diana could have known all this knowledge to put it there, because it's pretty accurate. When you are missing one of these frequencies, because you need these, it also stops you absorbing certain nutrients. It causes a problem on that level, and therefore you get the diseases associated with a lack of those minerals. So when you open that chain, all these things can enter your body again. And I've been using them for over 25 years now, but I use them differently. I've always used them differently to what Diana teaches and how she uses them, because I've been working on a much deeper level with them. What she then did is she also found 10 trees, and she made remedies from trees from around the world, again in the same color spectrum level, and the energies of these trees are in the tree formulas. So there are 20 flower formulas, there are 10 tree formulas. And then she had a system where she had a program where you could work out where your traumas were held in your heart. And the heart is divided into 5 parts, the 4 quadrants and the center. So each one of us store our traumas in one section of the heart, which then identifies us as what type of person we are. Like if you see metabolic typing or all these other different types of typing, blood typing, it tells you what sort of person. But even the heart quadrants tell us what type of person or traumas are we holding. So from the other research that she did, she then simplified it and made it into 5 remedies, which are the heart power remedies. And again, they have the energies of the flowers going into them. So this is what we're using in terms of this. There's a fourth one on this level, and it's called the special care formulas. And these special care formulas were created for damaged children. So for example, children with ADHD, children on the autistic spectrum, children with cerebral palsy, all these children were damaged children. And so for those children, she created 7 different remedies here, which are special care formulas. And this has got, they're called like things like olive love, cedar hope, oak, apple calm, willow, walnut. And these actually go and deal with much deeper issues in these damaged children. And the research on this, for example, has been done in Malaysia mainly, in different schools. And when the children take whichever one shows up, it makes very fundamental changes in the children. So these are the sort of things that we've added in terms of using the flower formulas. And it's to, instead of giving you loads of supplements in order to try and take them in your body, but if there is a blockage there, they're not going to absorb, so we're not going to win anyway, so open the door, and then we can do things, so we have to do less supplements, less things. And each of these remedies in the bottles, they're about 150 in each, which lasts a couple of months. So they're not so expensive, and it's actually usable. A lot of them are taken 3 times in a day, and it's not about taking it at specific times. They are not homeopathic, so you don't have to worry about other things. With little children, I tell them to take it in the morning, before they go to school, when they come back from school, and before they go to bed. Because I believe that if you make it easy for people, they would comply. If you make it difficult, you've lost them already. And so when you take it 3 times a day, that works. If you miss out once or twice, it doesn't really matter. And there are people who will sabotage themselves with the treatment you're giving. And it's very interesting that one of these bottles, they'll just sort of break it, or it will open and they will throw them all away subconsciously. And you can tell this person is not ready to deal with the emotional issue that is attached to it. So I think that covers the basics on this. Now, when we're testing for flower formulas, we have to do an electrical muscle test. Because the testing that was originally done was with a galvanometer. So it was a basic galvanometer reading. So what is an electrical muscle test? An electrical muscle test is if you're doing a muscle test we need to make a circuit. So if I'm testing someone, I have to touch them on the shoulder or knee or somewhere else, so I'm making a circuit. That's called an electrical muscle test. So we're still doing a muscle test, but with a connection, so we're making a circuit. So that's the only difference about testing for the flower formulas. Okay, so that sort of covers it. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.